What's up, Faithful? Welcome back to another episode of 49 Faithfullee. We're your hosts, Miriah Lee and Teran Lewis, and we're joined by the audience's favorite guest of ours, Denise. What's up, fam? How you guys doing?
What's up? Actually, it's Trey Lance. No, I'm just kidding.
Yes! My dream come true.
Right?
So the 49ers won. I think we all thought they would win. But they won like by a big margin, 37-15. I thought it was going to be by a big margin. I just didn't know that we'd end up scoring 37. Like that's crazy. It looked like our offense was actually clicking on, most cylinders. The run game actually got going. Tevin Coleman, for him being brought up and this being like, yeah, he's been in this system before, whatever, but the system changes. He hasn't played football. Like this is his first game and who knows how long. And he looked good out there.
He did.
I thought so too.
Like I was impressed. I was impressed with him and with Jeff Wilson. And we know that I haven't been the biggest, fan of us keeping Jeff Wilson, but I mean, it's paid off. And I'll be the first one to say, like, I'm glad that he's making me eat my words because that's what we need. Like we need him right now. So what are your guys' overall thoughts on the game? How it went, how it turned out, all that good stuff. Denise?
Honestly, I was really excited and I was kind of joking on my pod earlier. I said I was hoping that we put a 50 burger on them, and I was like half joking. But honestly, if BA would have caught that touchdown or that one pass, and if George Kittle wouldn't have fumbled, we probably would have put a 50 burger on him, to be honest. Like you know what I mean? Like we definitely could have done that. And I will say this is honestly the first time that I like someone was crapping on Jimmy on Facebook, and on Twitter, and I actually like stuck up for Jimmy. I was like, you can't put this game on Jimmy. I'm sorry. Like I said, I am not a Jimmy lover. Everybody knows that. Like I'm far from it. Like I would prefer Trey Lance, but I said BA should have caught that pass. I said, and Kittle fumbling the ball. I said, you cannot put that on Jimmy. I go, it wasn't a perfect pass for BA, but it also was a pass that I've seen other receivers catch all day long. Like all day long, those receivers.
BA had to completely adjust in the air to try to catch that ball because it was behind him.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just saying,
Debo had like 3 or 4 drops in the game.
No.
Say that, yep.
No, and I was going to say that too. I don't worry. He was next. I was going to say that Debo, had a few drops too that I was like, Debo had that one that literally in the middle that was like right to him. And like he just dropped it, and I was like, Debo, come on, man, you're killing me, Smalls, you're killing me. Like what the heck? Like, but honestly, I thought it was a good game. The only thing I was a little disappointed with was all the penalties. Like I thought anytime we like got a good momentum, like we started like running and like really like getting some momentum, we got a penalty called against us. I was like, God dang it. Like every time it seemed like I was like, shit.
Yeah. What's up, John V?
JV.
What's up, John?
What's up, family?
Like, yeah, we would get penalties called at us, and then it's like when they would do blatant stuff, like they weren't throwing flags, like that tripping or like where they kicked the return guy. I think it was Ray or whoever.
Yeah, it was McLeod. Yep.
Yeah, and the guy freaking kicks him, like trips him, like you can't. The tripping's a freaking flag. And then there was an I think who was it? I think it was a late hit or something. Where the guy just comes, the play was completely over. The whistle had blown and everything. And one of their guys comes and just shoves our guy completely like onto the ground. And it's like, okay, so there's no like, no more flags for late hits, no nothing, right? Like
exactly.
They were throwing flags on us for freaking everything, it felt like.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I liked how everything gone in the game. And first and foremost, give some props to Jimmy. He played well. like
Yeah.
Denise mentioned, there was a lot of drops. That one, I would think it was like second or third down, right over the middle of Debo. He was wide open, and he dropped it and stuff. And I think it was more of just him not being focused. He had like, what they say, he had like 30 family members there. So I think, it was one of those things where receivers get anxious where they look upfield before catching the ball. And I think that's what he was doing. He had his mind
Yeah.
made up of like, I see nothing but green grass, and where am I going to go? So
That's what
when
they even said, that he was already
Yeah.
thinking of the yak before he
Yeah,
even got,
absolutely.
secured the ball.
Yep, he was looking like, oh, there's nobody by me, and I think it was just his mentality. So he turned his head as soon as the ball got there. But yeah, I mean, Jimmy played well. The running game played well, and Kyle, man, I give him his props. He was, the ball distribution was amazing today.
Yeah.
He got everybody involved. Kyle Juszczyk got involved. It was a little late, but I mean, he used, and we're funny because we're just talking about why doesn't he use multiple running backs, and that's what he did today, giving the ball to
Finally.
Coleman, giving the ball to Jeff Wilson, and it paid off. It's like, come on, this is what we've been asking for. Use all your weapons, give people breathers. So the fact that balls were being thrown to Juwan Jennings, man, that's third and Jennings.
I wrote that in my notes, like third down Jennings.
That dude is just, he's to me, I mean, he hasn't really proven it as much yet, but to me, I think he can be a better born as far as like, being that dude, because I think he can also not only is he money on third down. I think once we get better on offense, he can also be a weapon in the red zone as well because he's so big. You know what I mean?
I feel like he's a more physical born.
Absolutely.
I thought that was the whole point of drafting him, was for a red zone threat, that big body presence. I thought we wanted to bully people in the end zone with his size, and he's got the dog in him to do it. But
oh, dude, yeah. I mean, when he got smacked over the middle,
bro, I feel like we don't target him enough.
And they even had some Danny Gray out there for a little bit. He was even sprinkled in a couple plays.
Bro, I was just gonna say the only thing that went wrong with that, Jimmy had the oomph behind it, just not enough. He didn't get a hang time on it. He didn't get any hang time.
Exactly.
On it.
You're right.
That's what he needed. He needed to get that up higher so that Danny Gray could get under it. Outside of that, dude, I was impressed with the distance. I really was. The problem is, are we going to get that 3 times out of 3?
Yeah, and I thought when I saw it leaving, I swear, and I'm not trying to be funny, it seemed like it took forever for that ball to get there. Like it was just sitting there. Like I was like, who's he throwing it to first and foremost? I'm like, is it gonna get there? And I was just like, okay, and then like you said, JV, it had the distance, just didn't have the velocity on it. You know what I mean? Didn't have the oomph to get there. So yeah, and it was almost, and I thought, oh man, JC Horn's about to pick this off, but good thing he dropped it. So
TL, that's so funny. I did the same thing when that ball left, dude. I was holding my breath. I was like, oh shit, it's gonna be picked. It's gonna be picked. I was like holding my breath, dude. I was holding my breath.
Yeah. So
before anybody else goes, I want to say what's up to the chat. We got Ty first in the building. Appreciate you. Joel, Christy, David, Beto. Go. Tia. 49ers throwback. What's up, everybody? I know we haven't been doing it, but I decided that we're going to start closing with a giveaway on this instant reaction show because everybody's doing instant reaction shows right now. So we might as well give you guys something for choosing to be with us when you could be all these other places.
Man, talk about saturated content, man. Holy smokes. My phone goes off with so many. I don't know where I'm trying to find my family first. I'm like, okay, all right, this show I can go back to. This show I can go back to. I'm like, damn.
Christy says Jimmy Ward broke his hand.
Yeah, I just heard that too. I hope that. Oh man, that's
how many plays was he even in for?
I think he was only in for 2 plays. It was a one.
And
Denise,
he broke
I know.
His hand in there.
No more than 2 for sure. Yeah.
Early. TL, I don't know if I'm right, but I could have swore that Jesse from his channel, I think he posted that he was in literally for 1 play and broke his hand on that play, and he was out the rest of the game.
Wow. From Last Second Sports?
Yes, thanks. Last Second Sports. Thank you. I apologize.
Yeah, because I remember when I was watching the game, I'm like thinking like, shit, I haven't seen, after like maybe the second quarter or third quarter, and I'm thinking, I haven't seen Jimmy Ward at all. Like I thought he was supposed to be back,
Man,
and
I didn't even
I had no idea that he got injured.
I didn't even want Jimmy Ward back yet. I still feel like the chemistry with Gibson back there was we were doing great. I didn't want to rush him back. I felt like it was. I know he was due, and anytime you can have Ward out there, you want Ward out there. But now look, just now look, right? This is just our luck, family. We get him back, and now it's a setback. Now, like a broken hand can be a lot of things. It can be a 4-week thing. You know, it can be a 6-week thing. It doesn't have to necessarily be, you know, season ending unless it's surgery.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Unless it's surgery. But, God bless it, bro. Like that is just.
Do you guys feel like me, or is it just me that feels like, I swear to God, every game we're going back to where we're dropping players like flies again?
Yeah.
Like, I swear to God, like every game, it's like boom, boom. There's 2 people. Like Nick Bosa is hurt.
Yep.
Like I swear to God, I'm like, you have got to be kidding me.
Yeah,
like,
it started off with disease.
Thank God it's not. You know, it's a problem. But it's not detrimental, right? I mean,
correct.
We will overcome this. And you know what? This is time for Jackson to get his reps. It's time to get him because he was looking good in there. He was looking good in there. So,
no, he was. I'm not, John. Don't take it the wrong way. I'm not trying to be Debbie Downer. I'm just
no. I understand.
Yeah, I don't think he's saying it to be that. I'm just saying, like, with if Bosa has to be out for a game or 2 or whatever, you know, it's going to be good for Jackson to get his reps and get him up to speed to where, I knew what you were saying. Yeah, you're right, Denise. It started off with Azeez Al-Shaair, and now we have Kinlaw and Armstead out, and now, you know, it's Bosa. I mean, I was scared when I saw Emmanuel Mosley holding his knee because I'm like, dang, did he tear his ACL? I'm like, oh my God.
I'm telling you, when he went down 2 PL, I was like, oh my God, Jimmy Ward, Mosley, Bosa. I'm like, are you kidding? We just lost 3 players in one game, and Robbie Gold.
Yep.
I'm like, oh my God. Like, I'm like, come on.
Why not put like Ambry Thomas in, and why not just get some of these guys out? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a big enough lead where.
Real quick, JV, Lenore, he went out for a minute too, because Samuel Womack was playing towards the end of the game, so that's another one who went out. So
he got hurt too,
brother. Yeah, he went out and he was in the he went to the locker room with the medical staff, and that's why you saw Samuel Womack in there.
So Bosa, Ward, Robbie Gold, and who else got banged up?
Let me see. It was Gold, Bosa, Mosley, Ward, and Lenore. It was those 5. It was 5 people who left that game.
Do you know what happened to Lenore?
I don't.
Oh, okay. I didn't see him get hurt, so I didn't know he was even hurt.
Because he came back, right?
I don't know if he came. Did he come? I don't know if he came back or not. I know Womack was in there for a while.
Yeah, I think he came back. I'm at work, so I was watching on the fly, but yeah, I think Lenore came back. I think he did.
Okay.
Now Eman's injury looks like maybe just a stinger, right? He smacked his knee off the turf.
I'm not sure.
Or was it an ankle? Do you think it was an ankle?
No, he was definitely holding his knee. He was definitely holding his knee.
Yeah, he was holding his knee for sure.
Yeah,
but he was walking on it a little bit. He was limping on it, but he was walking on it.
Yes. Yeah, he walked up on his own power.
So they wouldn't have let him go if they thought it was it could be a sprain, right? Could be an MCL sprain. That seems to be the thing for us lately.
So Ty said Lenore did come back, and then Womack stayed outside. So that's what happened.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
What's up?
Never mind it. Please don't tell me that's true.
Wait, what?
Are you just guessing this? Or?
I hope that's I mean,
they would have done the drawer test on him on the field. There's no way that he would have been walking on it.
I think he's serious, Miriah. You see what he's saying?
I see that, but Ty's saying that he still has to go have an MRI.
Oh my God.
Hold on. Well, this is what I know a lot of people don't like this guy, but his reporting is pretty accurate. David Lombardi says San Francisco fears Emmanuel Mosley tore his ACL. Nick Bosa dealing with a tight groin, and Jimmy Ward did break his hand. So, yeah.
Oh, my God. But why would they have him up like that, dude?
Man, I know we had talked about it before,
Sucks.
and I said the thing with Ward, like if he was 85 to 90%, there's no need to rush him back. Like because
Yeah.
like you said, JV, because Gibson was playing out of his mind. Like he's been playing
Right.
well. So if you're not 100% and the defense is playing that well, there's no need to rush anybody back. I don't care who it is, whether it's Armstead, Kinlaw. So if they were like, oh, he's 90%, and I know these players, they advocate for themselves, and they say nobody's ever 100%. So I get that. But if it's just like, dude, like, if you're just not ready, and if you're just gonna, like, so here's my thing. If he was ready to go this week, just rest him for at least another week or whatever the case may be. You know what I mean? Just be like, okay, I hear what you're saying. The doctor's okayed you. We're gonna give it one more week, even though you're okay. We're gonna give it another week so you can fully heal. Because, like you said, Deshaun Gibson's been playing well. The D line's been playing well with our Armstead and all of them. So don't rush these guys back if you don't have to. You know what I'm saying?
So who do we got? Do we have Rubber Van Man? What's his name? He's basically one with the team now. What's his name, bro? It slipped me.
Johnson.
Dante Johnson.
Yeah, Dante
I don't think
Johnson.
he's on the team.
I don't know. I haven't heard his name at all. I think
So we're gonna call him in. What about Denard? Did Denard get a job?
I don't know. The fact that Womack and Ambry Thomas were playing towards the end, that's probably who they're going to play. And then we're going to see what happens with Jason Verrett. But he wasn't active today like Ward was. So I don't know, if he's going to be ready for next week or not. So
Kyle says Johnson's on the practice squad.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I knew he was on the team, but I know he was on a 53-man roster. That man ain't going nowhere.
He tore it, dude. The fact that he was upright and walking tells me that, like, that means that he passed the anterior drawer test on the field.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe he tore his meniscus or something.
Could be.
You know what I mean? Because you can walk with a torn meniscus.
Yes.
But you would not be up walking like that if they feared you tore your ACL.
They said that Jason, Kyle did say that Jason Verrett, they were bringing him back gradually. So that's why he wasn't in this game. Like they weren't going to rush him back.
I seen a video of Jason Verrett testing his knee on the field before the game, and he didn't look like he's close to being ready. He run and he's there grabbing his knee. He's trying to stretch it out. He kept grabbing it the entire time. He did another run again, grabbing his knee, and finally he just went into the locker room.
Shit.
So I wouldn't
Dante
count on
Johnson's
him being
coming up
back
for
to
sure.
take Mosley's spot.
Yeah. Like Ty said, this dude has a job for life on this team. Dante Johnson ain't going nowhere. So if there's any injuries if there's any like serious injury with Emmanuel Mosley or whatever the case may be. Even the fact if Ward is gone, if he broke his hand, I think they'll call up Dante Johnson anyway. They might just call him up regardless, you know what I mean, because the situation was going on. Hey, Bashar, there's no need to apologize, brother. I mean, if it's true, it's true. It sucks.
Yeah.
No, bro, don't.
It is
no,
what it is.
I appreciate it because we're live, so I'm not able to get the news, So if you guys weren't telling us, like, I appreciate you guys giving us the news.
God, that I'm telling you, man, like the injuries are killing us again. It's like every year, man. It just drives me crazy. I'm like, God dang it.
What's up, the
wise soul? We play a very aggressive brand of football. I mean, we play fucking balls out.
We're physical. We're physical.
We play crazy physical, bro. There's no way to walk away from a game that promises injury without injury. I mean, it is what it is, bro. The problem is that like Mosley was just doing so well.
Yes.
That this breaks my heart, man. I pray they're wrong.
He was, and wasn't Mosley injured last year too, or am I wrong?
No, he played. No, I mean he missed a few games, but he played pretty well, and it sucks because they were saying the same thing about him with Debo.
I'm thinking if Tart was the one who was injured last year.
Mosley's in a contract year, so that sucks for him. Same with Jimmy Ward. And, before the season, Jimmy Ward was talking like, oh, I'm going to, get this contract and whatever he was saying, like, pretty much it made it seem like the 49ers weren't going to be able to afford to keep him, like he was going to go for the money because it's his last contract. And now he's been hurt twice. Like, so to get hurt on one freaking play that you come in, Oh
That's
my God.
crazy. And the thing with Mosley, I don't know if you guys heard, they kept saying, the announcers kept saying that he's from North Carolina too, and he had a bunch of family there.
Yeah.
So that's his home state, and that he had family there. And the fact that, I was so happy for him because he got that pick six. So I'm like,
Yeah.
man, he
Yeah.
get to
That
show
was
out in front of
awesome.
he got to show out in front of his family a little bit. And then if this is true about this ACL tear, that's a huge loss. I'm sorry. Like, he's
Yeah.
been playing so
Oh
well.
no, it's a huge loss.
Yeah.
Huge.
And I feel like, he's been playing well for the last couple years, and I
Mhm.
feel like everybody just forgets about him, like, whatever. But he's really been holding it down on his
He
side for
has.
the last few years, for us. So
Yep.
like that's
Undrafted.
really going to be a hit towards us.
Well, I think me and Jesse were looking at his stats one day on Spaces, and he only in the 15 games he played, he only allowed 26 receiving yards per game.
Wow.
That's impressive. I don't care, and
Yeah.
that's Pro Bowl caliber stats against a wide receiver. He was doing his thizzle out there. So yeah, the fact that he, if he got hurt, he's only 26. I hope it's not an ACL tear. If it is, man, prayers to him. And that just sucks because he's been playing so well. I mean, for him to go undrafted and work his way up, like, I feel like he's done everything right. You don't hear him complaining. He was undrafted. He made himself better. He willed his way to be a starter in a contract here. He's been playing well. I thought he was gonna get the bag this year. So this is horrible news if true.
Isn't it always that way? The ones that do it right are the ones who, you know what I mean? Like, that's who it happens to, and the ones who are the, jackasses of the group are the ones who,
Who
never
always
get hurt.
have stuff handed to them, or they're either arrogant or whatever the case may be. Yeah, I feel
Yeah.
you on that, Denise.
Let me ask you guys this. Ty
Mhm.
says that he'd re-sign Mosley over Ward. We know that they're both in a contract year, as I brought up. Now, let's say that, it is what they fear, that Mosley did tear his ACL and that Ward did break his hand. Both with the injury, obviously Mosley's being worse, right?
For sure.
Now, the offseason comes up and you can only sign one of them. And they're both coming off the injuries. And the age, taking into account everything. Which one are you keeping? You're muted.
You're muted, JV.
Mosley.
How old's Mosley?
26.
26.
Yep.
Ooh.
Ward's
And
31.
Isn't Ward 31?
He's
Yep.
31. Yep.
Yeah,
I mean,
I
it
would
breaks
say,
my heart to say it. I mean, I don't. If I had to pick one, that's my choice, because I mean, we
I
still
would
have.
say, here's my thing is, like, the thing that stinks is, so I think Ward is a better leader. You know what I mean? Like, I think Ward has better leader qualities, but I would pick Jimmy Ward, I would pick Mosley because he's younger. You know what I mean? So he's going to come back, and I think he can offer more because he's younger, but I would hate to lose Jimmy Ward because of his leadership. So
But
Yeah.
the injuries do make it more possible to sign both because his value drops. So
Exactly.
I was about to say that right now, JV. So yeah, I think it comes off a thing where, like, maybe with Mosley, you still sign him to maybe like a 1-year deal for 10 million or something like that, like kind of a prove a year, then talk about extension later. And everybody knows I've been saying this for months. I love me some Jimmy Ward, sound tackler, just a guy who's, when he first came into the team, he was put all over the place and really couldn't thrive because, oh, let me use you a slot. Now let me use you an outside corner. Oh, you know what? I drafted you as a safety and I liked you as a safety. So let me get you in the first round. Let me change your position. So it's one of those guys where, he's been all over the place. And I've always said I want Jimmy Ward to remain a Niner and retire a Niner. However, in this scenario, coming up, see, and that sucks because the injury to Mosley just sucks. Like, if they're both coming off a broken hand, I think the easy answer would be Mosley. You know what I mean? But the fact that coming off an ACL tear, and some people don't recover as good as others. But if I had to pick, gun to my head, and you tell me you have to make a decision today who you're signing, I'm going with Mosley because of the way he's, his age. And like Ty said, and I agree, it's easier to replace a safety than it is a top level corner who's, like I said, this man hasn't made a Pro Bowl, hasn't even sniffed a first team defense.
Mm-hmm.
And the man only gave up 26 yards per game to wide receivers. So I'm picking him if I had the choice. So
Yep. What's up, Ryan, Melissa? Yeah, I agree. I would be as well pick Mosley. And we talked about this before, and I would hate losing Jimmy Ward after he spent his entire career here, and then we lose him at the very end. Like I want him to retire a 49er. Like I would hate to see him finish his career somewhere else. But I mean, if we had to pick, I would pick Mosley too, because that's the that you're going to invest in who's going to help you like in the future, and we're going to get Mosley. If he stays healthy, of course. With both of them. We're going to get more years out of Mosley because, with Jimmy Ward's age and the speed goes and all that,
Yeah, and the thing is too, and Ty's right, and I agree, it's easier to replace safety. That's why you always see in the NFL, you'll see a corner transition to safety, but it's not many times where you'll see a safety transition to corner at the end of their career. The Charles Woodsons and the, just a bunch of players out there. Rod Woodson as another one, who played corner. Aeneas Williams. This is for the people who are a little older who remember those guys. But Aeneas Williams, I was like, okay, you used to run a 4.3. Now you're like a 4.6. Your speed ain't there, but you still have high IQ. Will put you at safety. You know what I mean? So you don't have to do man coverage so much. So yeah, it's the corner to me. To me, other than quarterback, I think that corner is the hardest position on the field to play. Because I think the wide receivers, offense nowadays has so much an advantage because you can't put your hands on them too much. The wide receivers knows where they're going. You know what I mean? The wide receivers know, like, oh, I know what my route is, and the corner doesn't. So it's all about hip movements and your footwork and stuff like that. Like anybody that plays corner, I give them props, man. That's a tough position.
You know what my fear is, bro?
What's up?
Well, all of you. My fear is to all of you. Is how I'm praying that this is not a tear. I'm praying for that because I don't think I can handle hearing that he tore it. But how does he bounce back from this injury? Who is E-Man after an ACL, right?
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Like this is like there's only one athlete on this planet who I've seen bounce back from an injury like that, and it doesn't.
Adrian Peterson.
Well, Adrian Peterson in the time frame, but Bosa is just his recovery and the way he plays is just amazing. Like that is essentially if it's not just his what do I want to say, his genetics, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's hope that you can always you can get back to who you were. And Bosa should be the poster boy of how that flies, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
But he's also a monster of his craft and the way that he dedicates his time and effort. That is why he is who he is.
Yeah, and you know what's funny? And you're right, JB. Like everybody's body's different. It's genetics and bone structure, whatever the case may be. But I never forget listening to Adrian Peterson. This man tore his ACL. He was out 6 months for recovery, came back and had a 2,000-yard season. You guys remember that?
Bro, that's insane.
And I'm just like, that's insane. Had the best season of his career after ACL tear. And they interviewed him. And I never forget. He was just like, man, how can you come back from an injury like that? He goes, I got the injury out of my mind. I went into the football games saying like I'm gonna play like I played before, because a lot of people come back and they always hesitant of like, oh, like I hurt this prior to, so I need to be careful. He goes, I played loose and I played like the injury never even happened. So I think, and I'm not saying, and I'm not saying that's going to work for everybody, but I do think a lot of people get timid, and that's why they get re-injured or they're not the same, because they're so scared of like, man, one wrong turn, do this, do that, I'm going to re-injure this leg, I'm going to re-tear my ACL. You know what I'm saying? So
absolutely, yeah.
So that's just crazy. Yeah. So, but
he's also cuckoo bird, twirly bird, bro. That guy's a little.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
It takes you have to be that with that mentality though.
You have to.
He's still playing football, or at least he wants to play football, right?
Yeah. Yep. So yeah.
Christy says our defense is so special. If we keep dropping 2 to 3 players a game from our defense, it's special. How long until our defense goes from special to really good?
Average.
Then from really good to good. From good to, how long is it going to be able to last if we're going to keep losing our starters like this? Like if Nick Bosa is out for any amount of games, like yeah, we have the depth, but that's 3 starters off our freaking defensive line. You know, 3 out of 4.
Amen, Maria.
That's
Mariah,
true.
that is exactly what I'm talking about. That's what's scaring me. Every game, we are losing multiple players every game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Melissa, you
Well,
can
I mean-
celebrate anything you want. If you take the win how you want to take it. This is an overreaction show, so we're reacting on. I mean, we talked about the win before you got here, so
Yeah.
now we're
Seahawks
talking
lost
about
too.
injuries.
Yeah. Yes, Seahawks lost. We're the only ones in the NFC West that won today. We're sitting on top of the division. So yeah, but to Mariah, like Mariah said, we talked about the win before some of the people got in here. So yeah, we're definitely we're definitely enjoying this win. Like, you know, I'm just, like I said, and I agree with Denise and Mariah. It's like, you know, we can go from special to mediocre pretty quick here if these people keep dropping like flies. And like Mariah said, we have 3 out of the 4 defensive linemen possibly not playing against Atlanta next week. And I know people, and I don't care who people are, you know, after that Bears loss, I mean, I've been watching football for a long time, and always believe in the, you know, any given Sunday mentality, because nobody thought we were going to lose to Chicago. So when you go in there, you can't take any team lightly. Like, you know, I'm already hearing people, oh, we're gonna smash Atlanta. Like, don't speak so soon. Like, I mean, you can have, like, I mean, you know, you can think whatever you want. I'm never telling anybody what they can't feel as a fan, but you know, and it's always cool to be positive. But I sit back and I'm just like, look, you know, we can blow Atlanta out, or we can win by a touchdown. Who knows? You know what I mean? Because it's really game Sunday, and with these players being out, who knows how good we're going to be. And because you said last week, Mariah, we played lights out today, but the defense is not going to play spectacular for 17 straight weeks. It's not going to happen. They're going to have their flaws. They're going to have their penalties. It could be anything where, like, somebody, you know, like Charvarius Ward, like there was a couple times where DJ Moore almost scored on him. Like, so, you know what I mean? I know almost, like Monica said, almost doesn't count, or was it Brandy? One of them two. But I know almost doesn't count. But it's stuff like that where, you know, Mosley could slip, Traverse Ward can slip, and it's a touchdown. All of a sudden we're behind. So yeah, I'm just happy that, you know, everything happened. But I am scared, Denise. Like, these athletes are dropping like flies. I just hope that when, you know, during midweek and stuff, we start hearing some of these reports come back that, oh, Boza was just sore, or whatever the case may be, or, you know, and then they say, like, oh, Emmanuel Mosley, he didn't tear anything, he just has a strain, he'll be out 2 weeks. Like, that'll be good news, instead of hearing, oh, he's gone for the season, or whatever the case may be. So,
and trust me, I'm not trying to be, you know, negative Nancy over here. Trust me, I am super stoked that we won. But you know what's funny, TL? I got made fun of on Twitter because someone posted a picture of Baker Mayfield, and they're like, oh, you 49er fans are scared of this guy. And I went on the pod and I said, don't take the Panthers lightly. Don't take them lightly, man. Like, I'm like you, TL. I'm like, any given Sunday, we can get our asses handed to us. Like, don't take any team lightly, man. Like, we can, you know, I don't care how good our defense is. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you know, if we go in there thinking our shit don't stink, like, you know what I mean? Like, and all of a sudden they come out, you know, with their hair on fire. Like, you need to remember, every single team that we go up against, their players get paid too, not just our players. Like, their players get paid too. So
yeah, I have to get out of here, fam, because I have to go take care of something. But before I go, Denise, this is what's funny to me. When you start saying stuff like, oh, well, the injuries are concerning, and people are like, oh, you know, keep your head up, and, you know, stop panicking, and this and that. You're not being a Debbie Downer when you're speaking facts. When you come out and you say, oh, these injuries are happening, it's not because you're being a Debbie Downer. That's what happened. It's what's going on. So if we sit here and we say, oh man, we're concerned, like Mariah just said, we don't know what's going on with Boza. It's groin tightness. It was sore. But yes, I know Ebo Calm and the Menahue and all these guys are playing well, but I don't care who you are. You need to be a little concerned if Armstead, Kinlaw, and Boza can't go for a full game. Like, I'm sorry. Like, so
Well,
Denise, I'm with you on that. Yeah, what's up?
I remember Bosa doing this at Ohio State, bro. The guy was back. He was back within the week. So he's another one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just mind over matter. He's a machine, bro. He is a machine. He
All right,
will.
TL.
He will make
All right,
this work,
fam.
bro.
Everybody in the comments, I appreciate you guys. JV, Denise, happy you guys came
Much
on the
love,
show.
brother.
I know you guys gonna hold it down for me. But yeah, so you guys have a good evening, and me and Miriah will let you guys know when we have our show during the week. So
All right,
bro.
we'll talk to you later.
Awesome.
Be
all
careful.
right, guys take care. All right, bye.
Later, fam.
What's up, Tanya? What's up, Troy? Appreciate you. Tanya, you never had to apologize for being late. I appreciate having you whenever you get here. It sucks that you had to work, though, during the game. What is that noise?
Oh, sorry, that's me.
Oh. Yeah, I mean, as you know, everybody keeps bringing up, we're now 1 game ahead, I believe, in the division. The rest of the division lost. Arizona had me worried for a while. I thought, like, shit. I thought for sure Philly was going to come out and beat the crap out of them. And then the last time I had checked, it was tied. And then I come in here to get on the computer and, get ready for the show. And TL comes in and he's like, Arizona just lost. I'm like, oh, shit. And I guess he said the kicker missed to send them to overtime or something. So
yeah, I watched that, Miriah, right before I came on. They literally missed the field goal to tie the game.
Wow, that's crazy.
That's what happened.
Yeah. So we got lucky there. And it's nice that, the Rams, I talked about this before, how the Rams fans were so unbearable this offseason, of course, and normally, the winners of the Super Bowl, their fans are freaking unbearable, but even more so when it's in our division, when they beat us in the NFC Championship, like all that. So like the way the Rams started out the season, like, the first game to start out the season and they got their asses kicked, like it felt so good until then the 49ers come out and lose to Chicago, and then it's like ever since we've been neck to neck with the Rams, like, okay, they win, okay, we win, and now we're a full game ahead of them. So that feels good. Like, screw their freaking fans now.
Yeah. Well, they, I did not watch that game, but I guess they didn't look good against I can't even, they played the Cowboys.
Oh, yeah.
I guess they didn't look good at all against the Cowboys. I didn't watch the game, but that's what I heard.
Yeah, I didn't watch it either. So hopefully they keep not looking good when we have to play them. The only thing sucks is that Hopkins will be back. I believe he's out this next week, but then following that he comes back. So, that's going to give that little spark to their offense, and at least, because right now they have wide receivers, but most have been hurt and, whatever. And it just seems like Kyler needs a special wide receiver to be able to pair with him for him to be good, like he's so short. He has so much stuff working against him already that I feel like he needs a spectacular wide receiver to actually do anything.
Yeah. And of course, their spectacular wide receiver will be there against us.
Yeah, both games. Figure. Like, we couldn't even get 1 game without him. Like,
damn it.
I know.
And our defense will be chasing that little squirrel all around.
Yeah. I hate playing against him for that same reason. The same reason why I hated playing against Russell Wilson, like, because it seemed like the play would never end with them. They can just be back there running around for like freaking 2 minutes. Like, holy shit. I'm trying to see what else. How about the way Tevin Coleman? Man, I know I brought it up at first, but he looked good. Like, I was so, like, when that first they said, oh, Tevin Coleman's coming into the game, whatever, I was like, oh no, like, this guy just came up and you're already putting him in the game. And he surprisingly did very well. Like, what do you think, though, that says about Jordan Mason? Obviously they brought Tevin Coleman up from the practice squad and then they made Mac, who is on the 53, inactive. So obviously, for some reason, I guess Mac's not ready, or they're not liking what they see from Mac. I would take it, because they brought Tevin Coleman up over him, who just joined the team. And then we're seeing Tevin Coleman go in and get a significant amount of playing time, when we've all been, freaking talking about getting Mason into the game, and why is, Kyle only have Jeff Wilson in, and why is he not giving carries to anybody else? Like, what is it? Does he not trust Mason enough? Like, we see him come in for a couple plays and we haven't seen him since, and we know that Kyle has a thing where he don't trust rookies. Like, we know that. So what do you think? Do you think it's a thing with trust, or, because he obviously has a trust with Tevin Coleman, like they have that relationship.
Kyle has hinted to this, but he has not come out and said, and I will give credit to Kyle for this. He doesn't 100% throw his players under the bus, but Kyle kind of hinted I can't remember who asked the question, but someone had asked the question, and it wasn't Grant, it was someone else who basically asked, like, why are you not using like your other running backs? And basically Kyle basically said that he's like, everyone thinks it's just about the running. Like, you go in, you hand them the ball and you run, and that's it. Like, he goes, they have to understand the scheme. He goes, they have to understand the cutback lanes. He's like, and they have to understand the blocking schemes. So me personally, what I think it is, I think they're having a problem with the playbook, meaning like, that's what I'm not saying that's Tevin Cole. I don't think that's Coleman, but I think that's Mason's problem. And I think that's Mac's problem.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I would
agree. We've heard about that before, right? About the playbook being so difficult. And obviously, if he keeps, making this playbook each year, it gets, more, he adds more to it, You're taking an already complicated playbook and making it more complicated every time. So, yeah, that's a good.
I'm sure Jimmy doesn't make it very easy either for the throwing, for the catching in the backfield, right? So, he's making a good guy look bad with some of these balls, but. At the end of the day, I think we know that Coleman is just familiar, and Kyle just loves that familiarity with players, right? And I knew that I'm telling you, I knew when they said that they brought Coleman back, I knew we were going to see him before we were going to see Mason. I knew it. I guess I thought that Marlon Mack would have an opportunity, but like, why'd you go through all the trouble with Marlon Mack if you don't think he's what you thought he was?
Yeah, and to have him on the active roster, and Tevin Coleman on the practice squad, like, it just doesn't make sense.
But
I don't think it's a matter of him not because I guess Kyle's liked Marlon Mack. And again, Kyle didn't say this. This is just what I heard in the rumor mill. I guess Kyle has liked Marlon Mack for a long time. He wanted to draft him, but he didn't have the opportunity to draft him, but he's liked him for a really long time. But I think with him, I think it's just a matter of him not knowing the playbook and not knowing the scheme well enough. And I think that's why he's not getting any burn. And I think the same thing for Jordan Mason. I think that's what it is.
Yeah, that makes sense. You guys have anything else you want to talk about? I'm going to go ahead and get this giveaway going. Chat, everybody enter your numbers. We'll start a giveaway, close with the giveaway. We appreciate you guys being here.
It's just so hard to really I wanted to go into Victory Monday with with everything behind me, like just so excited that we did this and we got it done. But these injuries, these wins are coming at a cost, and it's really hard to enjoy it, It's hard to enjoy it. Now, I'm grateful that we won, and to have suffered these losses and lost this game, that would have rocked me. That would have done me in, right? But I'm just, I don't know what it is about ACL injuries, but the fact that they let him up and go, I just don't understand. You know what I mean? Like, if they feared that he tore his ACL, he would have basically failed the test on the field. He would have failed the interior drawer test. So I feel like, I don't know.
They have to get that suspicion, though, from somewhere. So
they do. They really do.
Like, they wouldn't go out and say, that
wouldn't.
they were in fear of that if that wasn't even something close. So
Right,
that's what
right,
leads me to believe
right.
that he actually did tear it, because they
No,
came out
that's
and
a
actually
fact.
said, you know,
Yeah.
like
That's
they
a
could have
fact.
said, oh, we have a fear that it might be sprained, or we have a fear that it's a, you know, whatever. But for
Yeah.
them to come out and say specifically
Yep.
an ACL tear, like that's
Yep.
what has me worried.
Well, maybe
That's true.
maybe Kyle is trying to give us worst case scenarios, so when he comes out with better news, we'll all be happy.
No, he can't do that. That
We
would be
feared
nice.
it was an ACL, but it's really just a sprain. Oh, yay.
Yeah. Melissa says the handling of ACLs and concussions is fucked up. We see in, you know, obviously the handling of concussions and the whole Tua situation, super scary what's going on over there. But this is the first week that the new rules to the concussion protocol and all that have been put in place. And we seen, you know, like Teddy Two Gloves filling in for Tua. I guess he took a hit, and he had passed all the concussion normal questions on the sideline, where normally then they would let him come in. But even though he passed all that, with the new guidelines that went into effect, he had to stay out because it was feared that he had a concussion. So that made them down to their third string quarterback, because the new rules went into place because of them. And then it ends up, you know, screwing them. It's like, well, I don't know. Like that, I still don't know. That whole situation's crazy. Like, did the Dolphins mishandle that, or I don't know. Like the independent doctor, like somebody had to fumble the ball there. Like,
Well, they blamed it on the independent doctor, but me personally, I think that they should have kept him out just from the eye test. Like he literally stumbled getting up. Like, come on.
that
Like
was
even
scary.
if he passed the test, you should have been like to me, and I'm not like blaming Mike McDaniels, because I'm saying like even the players, like to me, like the person who helped him up should have went to Mike McDaniels and been like, dude, like he was stumbling, dude. Like you need to sit him down. Like don't let him go back on the field.
Yep.
Like I don't give a shit what the doctor said. Like he was stumbling.
Yeah.
Like sit him down.
And that's why now with the new rule, like if there's any, you know, if they stumble, if there's any impairment, no matter what, like even if they pass all the things, like they got to stay out. So, you know, like if this Tua situation happened now, you know, like everything went down, like he would have been kept out of the game. So, I mean, at least, you know, going forward, hopefully it saves, you know, other players, because this CTE and, you know, all that shit, like that's no joke. Like it's really screwing up these players. Like,
dude,
you know,
it's
once
absolutely,
they finally get to retire, and, you know, like they get screwed up for their entire life.
Yeah.
Can we all
And then
just
end up dying?
Yeah. Can we all just
Amalu,
agree?
the
Look
guy
at
that-
Antonio Brown.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot more going on there than CTE. That dude's just been crazy. But the doctor that discovered CTE, that Dr. Amalu, I read an article. I read something that he said. He fears that Tua has, you know, long-term brain damage. I read that, and he's like, I love you like I love my son. Gallantly walk away. Please walk away. He's asking Tua to walk away from the game. And Dr. Amalu is very largely respected, you know, amongst, you know, all 32 teams, right? But the fact that Dr. Amalu felt so sincere towards Tua tells me that like they must have a relationship, you know, that went beyond this injury. You know what I'm saying? That Tua must have been evaluated by Dr. Amalu before.
Yeah.
But he said that he fears that Tua could have suffered long-term brain damage. And that breaks my heart. That just crushes me.
Yep.
Dude, that's horrible. That's, you know, and that's the thing, like, that is one thing I will say when people like talk shit and say like, oh, that person's made of glass, or oh, that person this, or that person that. I'm always like, like, have a little bit of respect, dude. Like, I mean, I've talked shit before too, so I'm throwing myself under the bus. Like, have a little bit of respect for the fact that these players literally put their lives on the line to entertain us. Like, have some respect for what they do every day. Like, or you know what I mean? Like, every Sunday or whenever they play, like, like,
It's true. It's very true.
have some respect for their lives. Like, like, I mean, come on, man. Like, it just kills me. Like, and if that is true, dude, like, I really like, he should consider it. If that's what was said, he should consider it. 'Cause that's sad. Like, the game is absolutely not worth risking your life, risking your family, your kids. Like, and I'm pretty sure he's married and got kids. I thought I heard that. I could be wrong, but I thought I heard that or read that somewhere.
I don't know that Tua has kids, but I do. And what Tanya says, I think that's what the doctor was alluding to, that he fears that this particular set of injuries, these two concussions so closely together, that that's what he fears, that Tua could suffer down the line, and that's unfortunately, that's when, it becomes a detriment to your lifestyle and your family and your wife, and when you can't form sentences and you can't remember and you can't, like, it just crushes me, because we're going to remember this. We're going to remember all these guys 25 years from now, 20 years from now. We're going to remember all of this. We're going to remember those injuries, and we're going to be like, holy shit, I can remember that, and that I think that's when it's just going to really, that's when it really sets in, right? That's when when 20 years from now we look back and we're like, that young man suffered some head injuries and I can remember it. Just sucks. Just truly sucks.
Yeah, and with the CTE, being diagnosed once, a player dies, they're finding out, after the players end up killing people, end up killing themselves, and like bad shit has to happen in order for them to find this shit out, and it's so unfortunate.
So now they're just using data and they're just looking at the consistency, and they're just they can probably build a timeline by now, right? And say, look, like, injuring this part of the brain time after time has eventually caught up with X, Y, and Z,
Tanya says, imagine a brain of a 30-year-old that when examined, it looks like a brain of a 90-year-old with dementia. It's horrible.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I can't imagine that.
Yeah, that's crazy. And Troy says we need to get rid of turf fields. Like, this is something,
I agree, dude.
Even I've been saying this, that the players have been petitioning, like they had a petition going around to do it. It's like, if the stadiums that aren't putting in grass, there's no fucking excuse. Like, you should be spending the money. You're risking constantly your own team's players and every team that comes into your field because you won't spend the money to put in and take care of real freaking grass. Like, these athletes deserve real fucking grass.
Yeah.
Like, it's fucking.
I mean, that's your product on the field, right? I mean, you want the best players on the field at all times, or at least as much as can be controlled as possible. But one way of assuring player safety would be to grow some goddamn grass. Even if you're a dome, figure it out. People grow plants. People grow. You can grow things indoors. You can grow grass. You're billion-dollar organizations. You'll figure it out.
Yeah. Right there, John, you hit the nail on the head. You're a billion-dollar organization, and you mean to tell me that you can't figure out how to get rid of your turf and put grass in there?
I mean, the Raiders stadium does it. So if the Raiders stadium can be in a dome and have real grass in the desert, I don't understand why the rest of the teams can't do it. Like, it just doesn't make sense. Like, they're showing us that it can be done.
The bottom line
is showing us that they give a shit about player safety.
Yeah. The bottom line is it comes down to money. And what's really sucks about it is the owners. Give me a break. I looked up what owners make. You ain't hurting for money, you bunch of greedy bastards. So cough out the money and put real grass in.
I mean, it almost gives you a sense of you're getting a better product of football on the field if these teams can compete with their starting rosters.
Exactly.
And you're ensuring that there's just a better product on the field. You would think the NFL would make it league wide. They just want what's best. It's really the players' union, right? They're the guys that have to advocate for it, right? I mean, they're the guys that have to push it.
Yeah. Tanya, $5,000. That's it.
$5,000.
Is that 5,000? Wow. I know that during the broadcast they said that because they talked about Tevin Coleman, how he always does good about the Panthers, and they said the last time he played there that the grass, it was different. So you're probably right that it was grass last time, and now which makes it even worse. Like, you obviously had grass in there at one time and you got rid of it to put something worse. Like, that doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
They had grass and they put turf in there?
Or a different kind of turf, maybe, but I know it's changed.
Wow. Yeah, there's a difference. Some turfs have sand. Some turfs have some kind of fill. And I know that MetLife is basically like the most ass kind of turf you can have. Like, it is the detriment of turf, right? It's literally the worst.
Isn't turf like on concrete, right? Like, it's literally like on concrete.
Yeah, I mean, I played indoor soccer. I played soccer on some turf fields, and like, I assure you, it's nothing like playing on natural grass. It's almost like playing on a hard carpeted surface.
Yeah.
But the fill is there to absorb some of the contact, right? So if you're sliding as a soccer player, and I got to tell you, most guys aren't sliding on turf if they can help it.
Yeah.
They're just not. And that's why when we make a big deal about guys not sliding, I think to myself, like, I didn't want to do it for no money, and these guys have to make a decision for millions of dollars, right? So it sucks. Turf sucks. It sucks.
91649er, what's up? Appreciate it. Yeah, to see JC Horn go out again for the Panthers, like, that sucked as well. Like, it sucks to me regardless, like, because I'm a fan of football, and like you said, like, I like to see the best product out there, you know, like, why wouldn't you? If you're a fan of the game and you invest your time and energy and everything into this, like, why wouldn't you want to see the best, you know, out there? And you know, like, it just sucks to see, you know, all these players going down. I know, yeah, it's football, people get hurt, but it just seems like with I don't know, with all the studying and, you know, things getting more advanced, like, these things should be the numbers should be going down, the injuries. And I feel like they haven't. Like, I feel, especially with us, you know, we've been injured so much. I feel like for the last 4 or 5 freaking years, like, it's crazy.
I agree, dude. I literally want to write Kyle Shanahan a letter and be like, dude, you need to, like, go to church. You need to take a bath in some holy water. You need to do something. Like, I don't know.
In the ice baths.
Like, I don't know what your deal is. Like, I don't know what football god you pissed off, but you need to go to church and you need to have it out. You need to take back whatever you said, because I'm sorry, dude, the injuries are killing us, man. Like, you pissed off the wrong football god. You need to go back and make amends. Like, you need to go back and, like, pour some holy water on yourself, do a rain dance, do something. You need to figure that shit out.
Last call, you guys. Have your numbers in. I'm gonna draw for the giveaway. I'll give you guys. I know we had a couple more people join, so if you scroll up and you look and see what numbers have already been put into the chat, guess a number. Just make sure you know that it's not a duplicate.
Look, not for nothing. We are deeper in the secondary than we were last year, right? So, if in fact this is the worst case scenario, we will overcome it might be a little more difficult. But then again, you know what? We were seeing some flashes out of Womack. This might be
Yep.
everything he needs, right? This may be his opportunity, that next man up mentality that we literally live by as 49er fans. Like most fans just casually toss around like next man up, but like we embrace that shit because like we know it better than anyone that like
Yeah.
the next man up is like literally at one point we were like 5 next mans up, okay? Like at one time. So like we get it. We get it, right? I mean, we just get it. And we've been
John,
blessed.
we don't have a choice but to embrace next man up mentality.
Literally, no, we don't. We literally have that. We know that we're going to be there at some point, right? We just know it with the way that we play the game. We know that next man up is part of our game. It's just part of it, no matter what.
I feel like we know our backups better than any other team in the league.
Dude, you got it. No, that's no joke, Miriah.
That's so true,
I mean,
Miriah.
When I talk to the boys, when we do our show, Tony and Nick are like, I don't even think I can name 3 of the third string players on our roster. Let alone know their capabilities. Like
Yeah.
you guys know their shoe size, like what side of the line they play on. Like it's insane. Like we really are very well versed.
74 is the number.
That's a Staley number, isn't it?
Yep. Yeah, it's like,
oh man.
So us as content creators, we got to know even more than the rest of the content creators out there because we got to be knowing the backups of the backups of the backups.
But I think that's what's so amazing about, we've talked about this ad nauseum of how other teams just draft or don't draft. They just pick up players and they pick up high profile players that fit their schemes and they run it back, right? They just do it like the Rams. Whereas we draft for depth and the future and we kind of kill 2 birds with 1 stone that way, you know, because we just develop from within and we've been so successful at it.
Like people like kill our front office for doing that, but it's honestly smart. And thank God we have drafted and done that, because can you imagine if we were the Rams and all we did was go after high top end talent and our roster got injured like this? Oh my God. Like, I mean, we think Kyle's record sucks. Could you imagine what his record would be if we had no backups that were worth a shit?
I mean, that's true. We just, it's really impressive how strategic they are, and most may not get it. The casual fan doesn't understand it. You know, they're still rooting for Super Bowl Jimmy. You know what I mean? They don't have they don't know their ass from their elbow yet. You know what I mean? So it's like it's just like it's really impressive, and that's why we are competitive. That's why we were a few years removed from a Super Bowl, back into an NFC Championship game, and back competing again, right? I mean, it's because of depth and our development.
Congrats, Ryan.
Congrats,
Ryan. Congrats.
I can't believe that people like Emmanuel Acho literally have the balls to get on his show and say that Jimmy Garoppolo is the reason that we win games. Like, again, I will give him credit. Like today, he played a decent game. Like TL said, he played a decent game today. But like, it kills me when people are like, oh, well, thank God they have Jimmy because that's why they win. Thank God they didn't, I know people are upset that Trey got hurt, but thank God Jimmy was there to save the day. I'm like, are you people on drugs? Like, what are you guys smoking on that set? Like, let's be honest. Like, come on. I'm like, Emmanuel, put down the pipe. Like, seriously, put it down. Like,
I mean,
come back to
though,
reality.
if you think about it, though, like if you look at it from the other angle, though, they're merely just going off the numbers, right? They're going off the stats. So, to put a decent product out there on national television, they're going to say first they're going to say it today, and then they're going to double back on it in 2 months. You know what I mean? Like, it's just that's why the mainstream media drives me absolutely bananas, because Acho will say that Jimmy's the savior this week, and in 2 months from now, they're like, I don't know what they saw in this guy. What were they thinking? And we're over here like, dude, 2 months ago you were swinging, right? Like, what are you talking about, bro?
Yeah.
You were wearing a jersey and you were like hanging there, bro. Like, get your head out of his lap, right? That's your favorite. Get your head out of his lap.
Hey, Mike.
Oh my God.
He said game was fun. He was at the game tonight. Niners are
Awesome.
1-1 in games he's attended.
Good
Well, if
job.
you attended one where we had injuries, don't attend again, Mike.
I know.
Don't attend again, Mike. We lost 5 guys today, bro. Do not attend if you keep seeing injuries.
Ryan said Acho has a mole in the locker room. I found out who it was.
Who is it?
Yeah, he doesn't tell us. He just tells us that.
Well, come on, No Border Sports. Who's the mole?
Yeah, we need to know the mole too.
Tell us who the
We got to
mole
put
is.
out a mole trap.
We do need a mole trap. And actually, it first of all,
Is your mole Mike Silver?
If there's a mole, then we're gonna believe a lot more of what Acho says. I don't know if I can live with that.
Yeah, right. Amen. Shit.
Yeah, I can't stand
I-
Acho.
Well, I will say this. You know what? Like, the one thing that did kill me and piss me off when Trey went down was we actually had so-called, and I call them so-called fans because there were people like, oh, well, Charles Aminahue, that's
Denise,
the mole.
they're the faithless. They're the faithless. They've got a name. They've got a name. They're the faithless.
Charles Aminahue's the mole. Really? That's interesting.
Well,
Because my thing
that's a
is
real
like,
good way to get your ass off this team.
oh yeah, it is.
Hey, Bad
Because
Monkey. He says he's a Cowboys fan here. I hope the Rams continue to lose. Well, we're in agreement with you. We hope the Rams continue to lose too, because they're
Hell yeah,
a
Bad Monkey.
bunch of frauds over there.
yeah, amen
We
to that.
appreciate you coming into the chat, Bad Monkey.
But I was gonna say that like he was saying, oh, how what was it? Oh, people were out there saying like, oh, it's a good thing, you know, Trey wasn't going to take us as far as Jimmy took us. I said, you know, like, I'm sorry, wasn't everyone saying they were ready to go through the growing pains with Trey? And now all of you are happy that he got hurt. And I said, either you were willing to go through the growing pains or you weren't. Like, what the hell? Like,
Ryan says, yep, watch the video on the 49ers channel yesterday. He said he wants to get a job like his buddy Acho.
no, God, let me vomit.
I'm gonna puke on my shoe in a minute. That makes me mad. Like,
You know what?
And listen, there could be some truth to that. There could be some truth to that. But Omenahue really loves it here. It'd be a shame to soil that by feeding the national media. You know,
Well,
this organization takes pride in keeping things, you know, sealed up, like Tupperware tight.
Not only that, John, you know as well, you know, like one thing about Kyle and John, they don't play with shit like that. They find out that you're like, you know, telling gossip and telling secrets and shit. They will ship your ass off because they hold everything really close to the vest. They don't like the outside noise, the bullshit. Especially Kyle. Kyle hates that shit.
Yeah.
They want to be the ones, if they're going to leak anything, they're going to do it in their cryptic ways, right? They're not going to let Omenahue from the sauna tell, you know, Emmanuel Acho what's going down inside the Niners locker room. You know, that shit, they would sniff that out real quick, or at least I'd hope they would, right?
Oh yeah,
you know?
no,
I kind of want to, if it is Omenahue, I want him to shut the fuck up because I want him to stay on this team.
Yeah.
Because I like this dude. Right? He's an asset.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Yeah, he is an asset. Like, you don't want, it's like, dude, Emmanuel Acho's a jackass. Pay attention.
Yeah.
Like, you don't want to be your buddy. Trust me. Pay attention to his show. He's an idiot.
Yeah,
and
but
like
you know,
you said
do you ever
about
wonder who these people are outside of their job? You know what I mean? Like, do you ever wonder who they are outside of the 9 to 5 or whatever it is that they do? you know, I've always reserved a little bit of criticism for that, you know.
Well,
Yeah.
obviously, when his real life, he's not just sitting around spewing bullshit to get clicks and to get attention. I would hope not, you know.
Yeah.
If so, yeah, then he's probably not a good person outside of his job either.
No,
Well,
I don't. I'm just saying, like on the show, he's just like,
oh
yeah,
no, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you. I know that. I
yeah.
absolutely know that.
On the show, he's ridiculous. Like even his co-host are like, are you serious right now? Like really?
Yeah.
Like, could you imagine, you know, you talk about the 49ers, you know, hate leaks getting out. Like everybody, I'm sure, whether you're a Warriors fan or not, have seen what's going on with Draymond Green hitting Poole and the video gets leaked, right? Like,
Yeah.
could you imagine if that was the 49ers and a video like that got leaked out of the organization?
Oh my God.
Somebody's fucking getting kicked off the team, getting fired, you know, depending on who they are. Like,
Dude,
yeah, heads are freaking rolling.
They
if
are
that's the
persecuting
49ers.
them. They are going to burn their house down. Okay,
Yeah.
like that's
Them and their mom.
That's gonna get bad. Like
Well, look what I mean.
your
Look at what
unborn children are
happened.
gonna get bullied. Do not do these things to this friend.
Look what happened with Grant and what's his name? Fucking Javon Kinlaw. Like John Lynch like called Javon Kinlaw in and called Grant in, and they had a meeting because John Lynch was like, "Oh no, this shit does not go on here, Javon. Like, no. Like
right.
you need to stop that shit right now. This shit does not go on here. Like, don't ever call me the show again. Like, no."
Grant's tone changed significantly since then. Have you noticed that?
Yep.
You know, I've noticed a significant change in.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know if it was just their opportunity.
He said that he wasn't going to stop being him, but he was going to lay off on, you know, ragging players and especially about injury and, you know, all that stuff.
I did not even know that.
Yeah.
Well, then it's not so much that I'm not the detective I thought I was.
No.
Miriah, no, you're not actually.
No, I'm not.
She's like, John V, you're not Inspector Gadget. Just, you know, get that shit
No.
Stay in the restaurant, all right?
I am. You got it, family. No doubt.
All right, fam. I think, you know, we talked about as much as we can talk about on this instant reaction show.
Now we cross our fingers and say our prayers.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, all we can do now is hope for the best. And, you know, if the injuries are what the injuries are, you know, pray and send well wishes to the players that they have speedy recovery.
Yeah, and hopefully John V's right and Nick Bosa is psycho and his injuries just slight.
He's a machine. Listen, he is a machine. That dude will soak in some crazy ingredients and he'll be as good as new. Believe me. I've been here before with Bosa and a groin at the collegiate level. Obviously, it's nothing like the NFL, but it does say that, you know, this man can bounce back. Genetically, he bounces back.
Yeah, what really worried me is that they kept him out. Like, you know, as soon as he went out, it was immediately, he's not returning.
Right.
Now, what I hope is that they knew, okay, it's just this right now. So
like a grade
since
one.
we're already in a lead, you know, since we're already winning, let's keep you out and, you know, not risk it getting further injured out there. Like he probably could have went if he had to, but you know, that's what I'm hoping, that they kept him out as a safe measure. You know,
I agree with you 100 because on a grade from 1 to 2, a groin injury can be as a week and a half or 6 weeks. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So to make sure that that injury didn't get any worse, I would imagine that is exactly what they did. They're just like, look, you know what? Fuck, lead or no lead, we're not risking this to get any worse.
Yeah. Yeah, so we'll be back. Me and John. I mean, not me and John. Me and TL will be back. Maybe John if he wants to come. You know. Me and TL will be. I'm giving TL's job away now too, because you know you leave early, you get fired around here. I don't play no games.
Damn, Miriah, you cut
no early outs. Me and
TL's
TL will be back
out
this week, and we'll break down the game, you know, more in full, and we'll give our thoughts on next week's, matchup. Probably Thursday seems to be, when we're around. But yeah, we appreciate you. I appreciate you, Denise, John. Appreciate you guys jumping on here and doing this with
Awesome.
me.
Thank you for having us.
Always.
Everybody in
Much
the
love.
chat, appreciate you guys being here. Everybody have a
Love
safe
you
rest of
guys.
your weekend.
Love you,
Thank you,
ladies. Love
family.
the chat. Take care of yourselves, fam. Be safe. Cross your fingers and say a prayer tonight when you lay your head on the pillow. We want these
Yep,
guys
say
healthy
a
and
prayer
back
for
as
our
soon as
players.
possible.
All right,
family.
guys. We're out.
Love
Peace
you.
out,
Peace.
guys.